I want you to join me putting your hands together and welcoming one of our urban jellies who was born in Ghana, raised right here in Chicago, brother by the name of Heru. How about a big hand for brother Heru?
I am a scientific, prolific, polemic empiricist, homegrown, black bone lyricist, protagonist. I was conceived in a land removed from this time zone. There was no BET, no MTV, no magazine named Ebony. This was the time before 5-year-old children had cellular telephones. I was conceived in a land which is the historical opposite and nemesis of Rome. If this system is Goliath, then I shall be David's one stone. It was arranged I come into this world to be a righteous warrior from birth. Every single dripping dreadlock on my head represents 10 million sufferers on earth. It was also arranged I come into this world for the purpose of being a human rights activist. Now I'm not sure if I was right about human beings in the way that they're acting in this world. Many were also of this fold, accursed to be reincarnated into the human mold. Species identification and syncopation of circulation and respiration gave no hope or aspiration for soul sonic vibration. Now I'm the witnesser of ill times, carnal crimes, religious concubines, fool's gold and devil's wine, traffic fines, long grocery lines, and a genuine fear of doing hard time in places where the sun don't shine. The full moon is not an omen sign. I looked at them and smiled. And the Atlantic Ocean said, I've seen you before. And we were resurrected once more because we stayed true and African to the core. I was a fool for love until I fell in love with a fool. I was a fool for love until I fell in love with the fool. Love said, fool, how have you been? I'm in all TV screens and magazines and e-zines where money green can be seen and unseen. I am the controller of the heart, the body, and the mind, even if the spirit is not so inclined. I make people think that they're in a good relationship as long as they are being wined and dined instead of living life in perfect peace and just being kind. Rewind. The full moon is not an omen sign. I looked at them and smiled, and the Atlantic Ocean said, I've seen you before. And we were resurrected once more because we stayed true and African to the core. People have voted for president, but there was no election. People have voted for president, but there was no election. The presidential projection is the rich man's selection. Now this fact alone should cause political insurrection, but so many will sell out for monetary protection. The system is so smooth, so slippery, and so polished. I ask you one question. Who elects the Electoral College? So just kick back with your remote control, your TV, your country time lemonade, and your spicy ginger ale. Oh, what a beautiful day it is to watch democracy for sale. I've been surrounded by conscious women all my life, so I ain't waiting to exhale. Inhale. I promise you that the rest of this piece will get beyond the pale. I looked at them and smiled, and the Atlantic Ocean said, I've seen you before. And we were resurrected once more because we stayed true and African to the core. You forget that you have a selective memory. We were enslaved as we watched you celebrate your so-called Day of Independence in your 4th of July parade of rumping revelry. By my fire you shall remember me. That's why I wrote that song called Liars, because I'm familiar with your devilry. In the ancient days, you were the student while we were the teacher. We were the athletes on the historical field while you were just the spectator in the bleacher. But today the duplicator has become the originator, the originator has become the duplicator. The duplicator has become the originator, originator has become the duplicator. Sort of like a sick cycle, like a spinning kidney dilator. You have taken out my tongue and transplanted your tongue into mine, so I could speak the way that you speak. You have taken out my eyes and transplanted your eyes into mine so I could see the world the way that you see it. You have taken out my mind and transplanted your mind into mine so I could think the way that you think. This was your legacy, your present day, and your latter day campaign. African sense of self, never to be seen again. African sense of self, never to be heard again. African sense of self, never to be smelled again. African sense of self, never to be tasted again. Now we grow up with no sense of community. Community is defined as like one unity. And if we have no sense of community and no like one unity, then oh my God, what has the psychological surgical strike done to you and me? In all of the pain and the torture our ancestors went through, how quickly we forget it. This type of lifestyle is nothing other than pathetic. And because of monkey see, monkey do, the children do what you do and follow you and do not see the truth and do not see the clue and do not see who from who. I heard that blindness is genetic. My tongue drips blood. We were the ones who built the pyramids, but today we live in housing built by HUD. My tongue drips blood. We were the ones who built the pyramids, but today we live in housing built by HUD. But you are guilty of malpractice. While other folks love to live their lives full of slackness, I stay up late at night and study all of their theoretical concepts and tactics. Today I'm a 9th degree black belt in the order of Marcus Garvey in the style of Pan-Africanism because I have mastered all of their tricky-dicky, ecumenical, hypocritical didactics. Propaganda sent to you through emails and faxes. My tongue drips blood. We were the ones who built the pyramids, but today we live in housing built by HUD. No taxation without representation. No taxation without representation is my argument for black reparations because black folks could not fully vote in this country until the 1965 Voting Rights Act, so we are due about $500 trillion in illegally collected taxes. Chopping down the wicked with verbal ginsu knives, machetes, and axes. Propaganda sent to you through emails and faxes. Now, I'm hearing voices. I'm hearing voices and I'm screaming names. I'm screaming names like Soweto, Steve Biko, Amadou Diallo. I'm screaming names like Nkrumah, Lumumba, Queen Nzinga, Abner Luima. I'm screaming names like Marcus Garvey, Peter Tosh, and Mr. Marley. I'm screaming names like Mumia Abu Jamal. I scream for one, I scream for us all. I looked at them and smiled. And the Atlantic Ocean said, I've seen you before. And we were resurrected once more because we stayed true and African to the core. Thank you.